Pope Benedict XVI has recently passed. And if you would still remember, he resigned as the 266th Pope. Many people may be surprised to learn that history has seen its fair share of popes resign. Who are the other popes who resigned from their position? This list examines the top 10 popes who resigned. They all resigned for different reasons, some good, some bad, but they serve to demonstrate that there is a precedent for this unexpected act, and, even more surprisingly, a number of these resigning popes went on to become saints. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and click on the notification bell so you'd be updated with more content similar to this. Number 10. Pope Gregory XIII. The Pontiff Gregory XII ruled from 1406 to 1415. There were 2 antipopes while he served as pope. At the Council of Constance, in order to heal the schism in the Church, Pope Gregory XII officially resigned along with antipope Benedict XIII. The remaining antipope, John XXIII, was deposed. All 3 were replaced by Pope Martin V 2 years later. Interestingly, Gregory XII was conditionally elected. The terms of his election, by a mere 15 cardinals, was such that he would be compelled to resign if Benedict XIII did. Number 9. Pope Saint Celestine V. The most recent pope who wasn't chosen in a conclave was Pope St. Celestine V, the gathering of cardinals together for the purpose of papal elections. From August through December of 1294, he served as pope. He lived by himself as a hermit and gained notoriety for his spirituality as a Benedictine monk beginning at the age of 17. The cardinals agreed to nominate a mere priest because of his well-known piety, because they could not agree on the ideal man to rule after Celestine's predecessor passed away. He summoned the cardinals to him and reluctantly agreed, rather than going to them in Rome. Celestine V was escorted to Rome while riding a donkey and wearing a simple outfit when they all gathered. 2 monarchs were holding the ropes that were leading his donkey. He ultimately submitted his resignation because he believed he was not cut out for the pope. He returned to his humble beginnings and died in 1295. He was canonized a saint in 1313 and his remains are still venerated to this day. Number 8. Pope Sylvester VIII. Of all the popes on this list, Sylvester III's tenure was the shortest. He was elected after Pope Benedict IX was expelled from Rome on grounds of adultery and murder, and his pontificate barely lasted 22 days before he was removed and succeeded by his predecessor Benedict IX. While Benedict was pope, he excommunicated Sylvester. When Benedict eventually left the papacy in Rome, Sylvester was removed. Years later, Pope Sylvester III passed away in exile. Number 7. Pope Clement II. Clement II served as pope from 1046 to 1047. Although his pontificate was brief, he was nonetheless able to canonize at least one saint and reform the Vatican by outlawing simony. He got sick while he was on the road and passed away. There was widespread talk that he had been poisoned. Curiously, a toxicology analysis of his remains was carried out in the middle of the 20th century, and it was discovered that he had been poisoned with lead. It is unclear if it was a murder or an accident because lead sugar was being used as medicine at the time. Pope Benedict IX succeeded him in office. Number 6. Pope Gregory VI. Pope Gregory VI reigned from May 1046 to December 1046. Pope Benedict IX was reigning at the time of his election, but he did not want to be pope and instead wanted to marry. He offered his godfather, Gregory VI, the papacy for sale, and his offer was accepted. The papacy should never be sold, and Gregory VI's reign was not a happy one. In 1048, he was forced to abdicate and died in exile. Liking this bit so far? Be sure to smash the like and subscribe button. Now let's continue down to our list. Number 5. Pope Saint Martin I. Pope Saint Martin I was the final pope to be martyred. From 649 to 653, he was pope. The Byzantine emperor, who had Pope Saint Martin kidnapped, taken to Constantinople, deposed, condemned, and exiled, did not approve of his election. Although his papacy was brief, Martin I convened a council that condemned certain acts that were supported by Emperor Constans II, prompting Constans to demand his arrest. He died of maltreatment and neglect 2 years after his exile in southern Ukraine. The 13th of April is his feast day. Number 4. Pope Benedict IX. Pope Benedict IX was the youngest of the popes and the only one to sell the papacy. He is also the only pope who has reigned 3 times. His first term as pope lasted from 1032 to 1045, when he was deposed by Pope Sylvester III. He was reinstated as pope less than a month later, only to resign 3 weeks later, selling the papacy to his godfather Gregory VI. In 1047, he was forced to retire to an abbey, where he repented of his sins, officially resigned as pope, and spent the rest of his life doing penance. His pontificate was and continues to be one of the most heinous events in church history. Number 3. Pope Saint Silverius. The first pope to be deposed by force was Saint Silverius. From 536 to 537, he ruled. Byzantine Empress Theodora had him captured and exiled from Rome to the island of Palmaria in March 537, where he died of starvation on November 11, 537. He was made a saint by popular vote rather than canonization, and is now the patron saint of Ponza, Italy. Number 2. Pope Saint Pontian. Pope Saint Pontian reigned from 230 to 235 as the 18th pope. He is best known for being the first pope to resign. He abdicated because the Roman Emperor, Maximinus Thrax, reversed Roman policy on Christian tolerance and imprisoned him. Pontian's only choice was to abdicate so that another pope, who was not imprisoned, could take over. Soon after his abdication, Pope Pontian was martyred. His pontificate is notable not only for his abdication, but also for his condemnation of Origen, a highly regarded but heretical theologian. Number 1. Pope Benedict XVI. Pope Benedict XVI is the first pope in 600 years to resign, and he is the oldest of the 10. He is the 266th officially recognized pope, so he is not considered an antipope. Pope Benedict XVI was elected in April 2005, following the death of his predecessor, Pope John Paul II, and announced his resignation from the papacy on February 11, 2013. When he was elected in 2005, he inherited a church rife with scandals that had accumulated during his predecessor's papacy. Scandals such as the child abuse scandals that began under John Paul II slowly fading but continued under his predecessor Pope Paul VI. Pope John Paul I did not reign long enough to be held accountable. The world now watches the Vatican, home of the papacy since St. Peter reigned, to see who will be elected next. Surprisingly, Pope Benedict XVI is the second to last pope in St. Malachi's prophecy of the popes. Peter the Roman, the last pope, is listed as his successor. Now it's your time to be heard. Comment below which of these popes had the best reason to resign. This is Max, thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. And if you haven't already, then what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the Quick List.